Welcome into the Chiefs Report by Chat Sports. I'm Harrison Graham. Coming up on today's show, we take a look at some Chiefs cut candidates following the NFL draft. It's been a busy offseason with free agency and now the draft. Who are some players that could be on the hot seat come training camp time to not make the 53-man roster? I got 5 guys to keep in mind. So let's go ahead and jump on in here. Number 1, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. The Chiefs declined his 5th-year option. Now, I think something working in CEH's favor is that Kansas City did not draft a running back. Now, they did re-sign Jerick McKinnon. We know he's going to make this team. Isaiah Pacheco is obviously going to make this team. Will Clyde Edwards-Helaire? I think that's the big question mark right now because you signed Deneric Prince as a UDFA, someone who I had as a draftable player. I would say as of this moment, CEH is probably safe, but if Prince has a great camp and they're like, you know what, he's cheaper as UDFA, we can save a little bit of money with CEH, we might move on because, look, let's just call a spade a spade. As a first-round pick, CEH has not panned out. I thought he had a strong rookie year, something to build on. In just 13 games, he had 800 yards and 4 touchdowns. I was thinking, okay, if he could stay healthy, he could be a 1,000-yard back in this league. Injuries have been a problem, inconsistent play, lack of burst. The production's just gone down. Now, I will say this, if they cut Edwards-Helaire, they do eat almost $2.5 million in cap because he was a first-round pick. They only save $865,000. So for that alone, they might opt to just keep him as the third back, but he's not going to have a huge impact, I don't think, on this team. Maybe a team would bite on a trade if an injury pops up during training camp. That would be preferred because if they could trade CEH, that would save over $2 million. It's not a huge difference, but every dollar counts when you're a team like the Chiefs and you're operating with a lot of big contracts in a Super Bowl window. So we'll see how Brett Veach and this Andy Reid and his staff handle things. If CEH has a strong offseason, he'll probably make the team, but I would not be surprised at all if he was someone who could be on the chopping block come August or September. Now, will Clyde Edwards-Helaire be on the Chiefs roster this year? Type Y for yes, type in for no. This will be the pinned comment on today's video. Predict it for us, Y for yes, in for no, when it comes to Clyde Edwards-Helaire making this roster. Next up on our Chiefs Cut Candidates video, Richie James, who spent last year with the New York Football Giants wide receiver. They signed him to, I think it was a vet minimum deal or very close to it. Now you're probably thinking, Richie James, they just brought him in. He's probably going to make the team. Well, maybe not. I think these top 4 guys are locks to make the team. Kadarius Toney, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Sky Moore, and Rashee Rice, who they just traded up for in the second round. He's obviously going to make the team. You re-sign Justin Watson, who's a good special teams player and a reliable wide receiver 5. He's got a good chance of making the team again. Richie James, based on last year, you would think he would make the team, but what he's at best, I think, wide receiver 5 on paper. I suppose he could be wide receiver 3 or 4 if he's better than Sky Moore or Rashee Rice. But again, those guys aren't going to get cut. That's a second year second round pick and a first year second round pick. They did not commit big money to him, so cutting him would only cost you about $550,000 in dead cap. I'll throw another name in there. What if Justin Ross just has a huge offseason and you're like, you know what, we got to gamble on the upside and keep him here? Well, then Richie James could be in trouble. Chiefs wide receiver competition is real. It's very possible that Kansas City might have to choose between Richie James and Justin Watson. A couple of guys who can run good routes and have value on special teams. So we'll have to ultimately monitor how things go in the offseason program and everything up to that sort. All right, guys, before we jump into the next Chiefs Cut candidate, do me a favor and share this video on Facebook. All you got to do is click that share button, select the Facebook icon, and then click post to Facebook, or you can add a caption if you want, like, hey, check out this Chiefs video from Chat Sports, whatever you want. You can also add it caption free, no big deal. But spread the word. Let's share this video all over the internet, especially on Facebook. Okay, let's go to the next Chiefs Cut candidate, and that's Joshua Kaindoh, who's kind of been hanging on by a thread during his first 2 years in the NFL. You look at the numbers, if you were to cut him, not really a big financial deal either way. Saves you just under $1 million, dead cap of $125,000 just about. So not really a major factor against the cap either way, but I just look at this defensive line. I'm just like, where is Josh Kaindoh at this point? Like, he was a 5th-round pick. They drafted him based on, he was a huge high school recruit, kind of flashed at Florida State in college, but never put it all together. That, okay, athleticism upside, we'll bring him in here, but he's behind a Minihue, Karlaftis, Anudike-Uzomah, Dana. You just drafted B.J. Thompson in the 5th round. Like, he's done nothing in 2 years. Like, he's very much on the hot seat. Like, he needs his best offseason yet. He needs to have a great training camp, because if he doesn't, there's a real chance that he's looking for new work or is on the practice squad come week 1. Join the family here at the Chiefs Report. Subscribe for Chiefs offseason videos every single day. Turn on that notification bell as well. Click the bell. Turn noties to all. That way you always get a notification when we publish a video or when we go live. Subscribe, turn on the bell, you'll be good to go. Okay, next up, Darien Canard. Only a practice photo because he literally never got into the game. Look, he was a 5th-round pick last year, and I remember when the the video came out from the draft when Brett Veach told him, hey, listen, the one spot we're looking at is competition at right tackle, and Kennard was not that. They had Andrew Wiley play that position when Lucas Niang got healthy. He was the backup. I know he was just a pick last year, but I think you factor in the fact that Donovan Smith has now been signed. I've got Kennard as a backup right guard right now because you have Niang and Wanya Morris behind Donovan Smith and Jawan Taylor. Even if Niang starts and Donovan Smith is a backup, I mean, he's ahead of Darian Canard. The Smith signing does not help Kennard at all. That is not a notch in his direction for making the team. I'm not sitting here saying he's not going to make it, but he's got to show some growth. I mean, I think the Chiefs were pretty disappointed with him as a rookie. He was inactive basically all year, guys. That, for a guy that they were hoping could maybe compete for a starting job, he couldn't even get on active game days. Not a good sign through one season. All right, Shane Buechele, one more here. This isn't really related to the draft. This is more of just more aftermath of, bringing in Blaine Gabbert. I mean, do you sign Blaine Gabbert if you think Shane Buechele is for sure ready to be the backup? I don't know. I mean, I thought it was always going to be smart to bring in competition. There's no dead cap penalty if they do decide to cut him. Now, they obviously value Buechele because they've carried him on the 53-man roster for the last year and a half. His rookie year, the Cardinals tried to poach him from the practice squad. Chiefs elevated him, kept him on the 53. Last year, he made the 53, was on there all year, but he never unseated Chad Henne. They just signed Blaine Gabbert, who's been a backup for several years with Tampa and some other teams. Hopefully, Buechele gets a chance to compete with Blaine Gabbert. But if Gabbert wins the backup job, will they carry 3 quarterbacks again? Because I think at that point there would be a real discussion from within the building of, hey, Buechele's had 3 years and we like him, but he's been unable to beat out multiple veteran backup quarterbacks. Like, I don't know. I think he's got to show a lot this year. And in an ideal scenario, he beats out Gabbert and Gabbert gets cut. And maybe you stash him on your practice squad to keep him in the QB room for meetings and stuff like that. That's my hopeful, because if he can do that, I would like to keep Shane Buechele as a backup for a long time. He's young. He's got a strong arm. But, I think he's shown them enough to keep around up to this point. Has he shown them enough to for sure be the backup? I think up to now you'd have to say no. Otherwise, they wouldn't have signed Blaine Gabbert. All right, name a player that the Chiefs should cut. One guy you want to say, get the hell off my team. Go ahead and drop his name down in the comments. And then here are some candidates. I want to recap here for you guys. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I think he's safe for now, but his seat's eating up. Richie James, newly signed receiver. A lot of competition at receiver. Joshua Kaindoh, year 3, Josh. What's going to happen here? Darian Kinnard, who had a disappointing rookie season. And then Shane Buechele, who's bat could be up against the wall as well as he enters his 3rd season at quarterback. All right, guys, appreciate you guys for tuning in to today's Chiefs Report. If you have any questions, thoughts, concerns, or anything else, you know where to find me, at HGramNFL on Instagram and on Twitter. That's where I reside, so go hit me up on social media, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Go Chiefs.